Hello, welcome to the Moxie Press podcast, special edition from our car.
Yeah, emergency app. It's not an emergency, but we couldn't find a better time to record, so this is what we're doing.
This is it. So welcome to our Hyundai Sonata. But yeah, so as you can see, this podcast looks and probably sounds a little bit different than our usual podcasts. And that is because we are
losing our minds.
That too, yes. I was gonna say like going through some changes, but like we too are losing our minds.
Not bad changes. It sounds like we're about to announce like a divorce.
Not yet, no. But as you can see, we do not have a February author spotlight. So that is like the biggest like change for this month is that we do not have a spotlight, and it's not because we did not get so many good submissions. We had a lot of submissions last month. It is because we, in our personal lives, things are changing. Things are happening, and we will tell you about it very soon. But we're a little busy.
Yeah. So
our business kind of has unfortunately been like put aside, but February marks the 12th month of us doing the podcast, and we could not I could not let this month pass without doing a podcast, even though we do not have a guest for our podcast.
Even though we're in our car.
But see, that just shows our dedication, right?
Like, we found time. We made this happen. But yeah, and things are slowing down. It's not a bad thing. It's not even like
and we'll tell you soon. We'll tell everybody soon.
I'm excited. I want to talk about it now, but no, we can't.
No, we'll wait. But for those of you that are subscribed to our email list, which one, if you are not subscribed, you should be, you saw that things did were a little bit different in January. So we did have our author spotlight for January. That was our last podcast. Great episode. Man of many talents. And then a couple weeks later, we had an author highlight. Yeah. So it wasn't that they were not a guest on our podcast, but we really loved the piece. And then we did kind of like a Rolling Stone style. That was kind of what I was going for, but I don't know. Style.
Like a little interview style article thing in the same newsletters.
So our plan for 2025 was to have our author spotlight, which will always be the guest of our podcast. I can speak, I promise. And then every week after that, do the highlights.
Yeah.
But because of where we are right now,
circumstances,
we are not doing a spotlight for this month, February. But we will have some highlights for this month. And then hopefully in March, we will start up again with the author spotlights and being guests on our podcast and things like that. And still doing the highlights. We want to continue to do the highlights because we want to branch out and give more voices.
Just more authors, like we don't want to have to wait for a once a month thing to spotlight people or to talk about people that we want to talk about. Yeah. So, and even if things do happen, they won't. But if they do happen to slow down again, I think we will continue to do those. So you'll be seeing the highlights.
Yes, yeah. So, but I think like we want to give more. We want to be able to highlight more authors. So we have we're able to do once a month podcast. Obviously not this month, but in the future, and then have the highlights. Eventually, our goal would be to do like a weekly or like multiple times a week and have fantasy day and nonfiction day and horror day, and just be able to highlight all the underrepresented voices as we can. But to do that, we need funds, right? So what is the best way to help us with our funds?
So if you're not, please sign up for our newsletter. But the best way to do it is click the ads that you see in our newsletter. We often have sponsors sponsoring the newsletter. And sometimes we get that it may not always be something that people necessarily jive with or care about. But just click on it, spend a couple seconds on their website.
Right. And when we say click on it, like that's literally all we mean. Yeah. Like click on it, it will open a new most of the time it opens like a new
most of the time it opens like a new window or whatever, but yeah.
You don't have to do anything. After you click on it, like let the page load and then exit. It's totally fine. You don't have to buy anything. If you do like it, whatever, we don't get a commission from anything that's on there.
We get paid when you click.
So click on the ad. Obviously you can buy our books. But speaking of our books, we still have copies of Silly American that we want to unload onto you. And you know, we give away, we've been doing like $1 of like purchases to an organization. But for Silly American, we have hard copies of paperback. I want to be clear about that. Yep. Hard copies of paperback books that we want
physical paperback books
Thank you.
We want to ship to you.
To you. So minus the cost that it took to print and the cost that it's going to take to ship, we want to donate everything else to the ACLU.
All the profit that we would keep for ourselves, we're going to give to. They need it more than we do. The ACLU.
Yes.
Especially now. So.
Yes. So, we'll put the link to Silly American in our description. Mm-hmm. Again, it is 76 essays on quirky facets of American life.
Yeah,
from monster trucks to the school to prison pipeline. So it's a really good book it's an easy read. Like the chapters are 3 pages long. But it's an easy read and it's good for, like, I picture it as something that would have done really good in an Urban Outfitters. We just walked by an Urban Outfitters that looks like it's going out of business.
Yeah, so good thing we didn't get in there. No, but yeah, I think it's true. And it's just like a good primer, like intro to like relatively easy to grasp American history. And so, you know, get it before this administration bans it.
I think it would be really good for someone who's like just turning the corner on starting to question everything. Starting to question capitalism, starting to question the patriarchy, starting to question the oligarchy.
Yeah.
That is. Like a good intro to that, or someone that might be persuaded to just broaden their views a little bit, just because the way that the essays are worded, it's lighthearted in a way, but like
if you have somebody who's maybe more conservative that you want to show them the light, it's a good way to lull them into a sense of security with the book before it hits them with like really hard topics. So they'll get into like monster trucks, then they'll realize, you know, why school shootings are bad finally. So
yeah, anyway, so yeah, all of the profit from that book will go to the ACLU, but then $1 from every other purchase, like if you get Andrew's memoir or my guide to how to play with your children, that will go to the ACLU as well.
Yep.
So subscribe to our newsletter, subscribe here, and
click the ads.
And
I'm trying to remember, we're gonna do a couple author highlights this month and try and get back on track next month.
Right. So submit to become an author spotlight or highlight. Right now we're doing like one big batch. So if you're submitting for anything.
Yeah.
And then we kind of choose, you know, if we want to invite you to be on the podcast or maybe just the highlight or, you know, but we really want to grow. That is our goal for this year, is to grow. So follow us on the socials. We are still on TikTok.
As long as it's here.
We are definitely on Blue Sky.
Threads.
We're on Threads. Having like, you know, the meta situation is very difficult. The platform Threads is an enjoyable platform. Yeah. So that's the hard.
People are good there.
The hard thing. We have not done any ads or anything on Facebook or Instagram. Maybe we did an Instagram ad one time.
It's
not really where we're at. But still, follow us on all the socials.
Either way,
we need the support, because we want to support as many of you as we can.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little short update. See, kept it under 10 minutes.
Oh, that's exciting. All right. Well, in that case, yeah, do everything we said.
Yep.
And buy Silly American.
Yep.
And
lead with Moxie.
Oh, nice. That's good.